just put talk number 1, and I will personally go and tag you in it so that you can see part 1, because for those who did watch it, I don't want to repeat myself over and over again. So if anyone who didn't see it last week, definitely just put part 1 in the comments, and then I'll go back and I'll tag you in it afterwards. So for those of you who did, and just moving forward when it comes to really tying in, because I like to be the bridge between science and spirituality. And just like Dr. Obam said, it's nice to be able to make biology fun. So when it comes to science and spirituality, that bridge really is health, because of the fact that you do need to reconnect to the self, and you need to reconnect to your own self through a place of self-love, so that you can actually elevate yourself to that next level before you can start to step into your own power and start to draw in all of the beautiful opportunities and people that are actually meant to be in your life. So I want you to think of things this way. I want you to think of it as and I've never taught this before, so I'm just going to go out here and I'm just going to be vulnerable, and I'm going to teach something that actually came to me and that I've been able to share with a few really close people that I've spoken to on this call before. So this is a first look into the mind of Stephanie. So I had this moment the other day where I finally realized how health really tied into awakening. And I'm going to be extremely raw and share with you that when I first started health coaching and in my own journey, using health as my first step, that's when I started to get into a place where I was wondering if I was being too superficial. And I was really starting to wonder if I needed to go on the whole other side of the spectrum and focus more on the mind. So when I was doing this, and when I was really starting to dive deep and deep dive into reconnecting with myself, it's not until I reached a whole new level of awakening that I realized that all along I was actually fulfilling that connection with myself because of the fact I started with health. So now I've gone back. So I started off with health. I started with bodybuilding, and I was all about, the science and weight loss and keeping, your body fit and looking good and all of these things. And then I just got to a place where I just said, you know what, this isn't enough. I'm not feeling fulfilled enough. I need to go deeper. So then I went into the mind and I started to extract those layers. And as Fasana likes to put, peel back the layers of the onion and start to really dive deeper within my own self and my own mind. And once I finally did that, I realized that I didn't need to go from one to the other, and that they both fed each other in this beautiful synergistic way. And it's not until recently that I actually put my health coach cap back on and actually started to dive back into health coaching, but doing it from a new level of awakening and doing it from a way of helping people reconnect with the self so that they can then go and start to elevate their vibrational frequency and start to fill the void that we have within ourselves as humanity. Because with everything that's happening right now, we are realizing that the world is changing and that it's never going to go back to the way that it was before. And like Mr. Vinnie Cochran likes to put it, you would be living under a rock if you haven't realized this. So it's reaching that higher level of consciousness. It's being able to understand that there's 4 different areas that we need to connect with. And don't worry, I'm going to dive into the biology and give you guys all the fun and juicy nutritional stuff, but I need to preface it with some context here, as Dr. Obam always likes to say, context before the content. So here's the context for you. There's these 4 different areas in our lives that we need to connect to in order to be able to fulfill a void that we have within ourselves as humanity. And those 4 different areas are this. They are the self, they are others, Mother Nature, and then source. And really, if you look at it this way, as if you were to draw a line between source and Mother Nature, and then draw a line between self and others, you end up coming to this beautiful cross point between the two. And if you were to put yourself as a human being in that middle area between all those areas and draw it out as though there's a void within you that you are trying to fill, The moment where you have reconnected to each 4 of those points, that hole is filled. And you're reaching a whole new level of fulfillment that you never even realized humanity could have before. And that's why health is so important, because it typically is the first step to most people's awakening process. Because you can't have connection with others if you don't have connection with the self. You can't have connection with Mother Nature if you don't have connection with the self. And you can't have connection with Source if you don't have connection with the self. So you see how it all starts with you. And it all starts with your ability to be able to give enough love to yourself so that you can then go and give the love and connection to everything else in your life that's finally going to make you understand before you step into a nutritional program, to a fitness program, to getting a gym membership, or to really just taking that first step in just saying, I want to be healthier. I want to eat better. I want to fuel my body with nourishing foods that are going to make me thrive. I want to feed my mind with thoughts that are also going to allow me to work in synergy and achieve the highest level that I possibly can as a being on this planet. So I am going to leave the context at that. And now I'm going to start to dive in a little bit more to the juicy biology that Dr. Obam is definitely expecting and wanting on this call. So don't worry, the biology teacher is going to come out. Maybe I should put my glasses on and just go completely into it. So I hope that that is something that provides you with more context and provides you with more reason behind why it is so important to start with yourself first and start with your health. So really, when you think about it, when it comes to health, one of the biggest things that a lot of people don't touch on enough is gut health. And gut health is really the number one thing that when it comes to changing your diet, when it comes to changing your habits, when it comes to really getting to that next level of health for yourself, it's all going to start there. Now, with everything that's happening right now, I'm going to tie gut health and mental health together because they really are two of the same things. Because your gut is actually made up of some of the same matter as your brain. And the really cool thing is that your gut is actually connected to your brain via the vagus nerve, which means that you actually, whatever you feel in your gut, you also feel in your brain. So how does this connect to mental health? And how does this connect to even anxiety and the fear that's happening right now? Because last time that I spoke, I really touched on fear and cortisol and how that affected you. But now I want to go a little bit deeper and touch more on the connection of your own food that you put within your body and of your thoughts and how they can really connect to that mind-body synergy that's happening. So when it comes to the fear and the anxiety that's happening right now, whatever you are feeding your body is actually contributing to that. So let me explain on this a little bit more. What's Obama saying? If you don't take care of your gut, it goes to your butt. Haha, you are so funny. Yes, that's a very good point. Gut health definitely has to do with weight loss, and I'm definitely going to touch on that later. Don't you worry. So when it comes to anxiety and the fear that you're feeling right now, the worst thing that you can actually do is not take care of your gut, because 90% of the serotonin that is created within your body is actually created in your gut. And this is something that you guys can check up. It's on HeartMath Institute is actually the place that, and it's a beautiful area that does a lot of research on the mind-body connection. So if you want to look it up, go HeartMath Institute. You can find a whole bunch more on the gut-brain connection. So when it comes to, now that you know that 90% of your serotonin comes from your gut, let me give more preface. What is the one happy hormone that is lacking people with anxiety and depression? Serotonin is a hormone that is too low with anyone that struggles with anxiety and depression. What's happening right now? People are feeling depressed because they're isolated. People are feeling anxious because they're scared. So knowing that and coming back to gut health, if serotonin is created in your gut, that means that you want to keep your gut healthy. so that it can create the most serotonin possible so that you can help your body and your brain combat that anxiety and that depression that you might be starting to feel right now or have been feeling for a while. Let's just be honest, for some people. So the biggest thing when it comes to your gut, now let's dive a level deeper, is the gut microbiome. So what that means is the balance between the good and the bad bacteria that are living within your gut right now. Now, what happens, and I'm sure a lot of you guys can attest to this, so I want to see some comments in the comment chat box. So how many of you have eaten like fatty foods or really carby, sugary foods, or gone to like McDonald's or something like that, and you ate it and maybe you felt like this tiny little dopamine release of bliss at the time, but then afterwards you almost felt depressed? I want to see if you have ever done this, if you eat kind of food like candy or anything that you would consider to be junk food, and then you felt kind of down and depressed after, I want to see you comment me in the comment box. If you are, watching this on Facebook Live, then comment down at the bottom me. I want to see a whole bunch of them, because I will say that I have felt that exact same way. I am not scared to say it. Omar is saying me, Karen is saying yesterday. I love it. No, you are not alone. Amazing. So when it comes to the reason why this happens, it's because the food that you are actually eating is what is going to feed either the good or the bad bacteria within your gut, that then goes on to determine whether or not your microbiome is at a good balance. And if your bad bacteria is higher than your good bacteria, your gut's not going to be happy. You're then not going to be producing the serotonin that your body is actually producing. And then you are going to feel depressed and be more susceptible to anxiety, if you want to go as far as saying that. So that's why when you eat those sugary foods, those fatty foods, whatever, that are just really not super healthy for you, you feel depressed after, because you're elevating that bad bacteria, because sugar and fat and carbs and things that can actually be processed into glucose feed the bad bacteria. The bad bacteria feed on it and they just love it. So they just take it, and then they keep growing until that good bacteria is down here, the bad is up here. So that's why it's so important that, especially in times of stress, especially in times of anxiety or in times of depression, that you can now have the knowledge to empower yourself to be able to know that the foods that you eat contribute wholly and completely to that feeling that you have in that moment. A lot of people see eating healthy as something that's only going to pay off long term, because they only see healthy eating as helping with weight loss. Of course, yes, the weight loss takes time. But what about all the benefits that you have in between? What about all of the benefits that you have between deciding to eat that kale salad instead of that Mars bar when you're feeling depressed? Because now you have the knowledge to be able to know that whatever you eat in that instant can actually end up reflecting in your mood later and in your mood at that time. So again, like I said in my last talk, I like to empower you to be able to make choices by actually giving you the knowledge. Because I could go out and tell you, Karen, here's your exact meal plan. This is what you should follow. Eat this and you're going to feel great. Okay, that's awesome. That's not telling her why. That's not telling Karen exactly the reasons why her body, specifically her body, because of X, Y, and Z and what she's feeling and what she's experiencing, is going to help her. So if I don't tell her that, then I'm not empowering her to then be able to use her own extremely genius mind to be able to then go long term and create something that's going to be sustainable for her. Or say, you know what? I remember that talk that Stephanie did when she told me that eating sugary and junk foods are going to actually make me feel even sadder if I am feeling sad already. Or they're going to make me feel even more anxious if I am already feeling anxious. So because I actually know that, and now I understand how my gut and my body works, I can then be a little bit more prone to going out and eating that salad. So that's really my mission here, is to really just empower you to be able to make your own choices and actually up level your own, so that I don't always have to be the one that's giving you cookie cutter meal plans. That's not health. That's just you listening to somebody else. Sure, you might need that at first to give you an edge to get up. But once you get that knowledge, that's something you keep forever. So now that we've dove in to exactly why gut health has to do with mental health, would it not make sense that more people on a holistic way actually would implement some kind of maybe gut cleanse, some kind of healthy nutrition program when you're dealing with someone that might be struggling with anxiety and depression? This is where holistic living comes into play. And this is where I know that my holistic sister, Fasana, is probably in the back, because I can't see her on camera right now, but she's probably doing one of these as these preaching moments, because she lives and breathes that. And she's someone who definitely, yes, exactly. So this is definitely the moment where you can start to tie in every area of your life, and where you see how important it is to have that physical health and the mental health together. So I'm going to get off my soapbox for a second here and regroup so that I can start to continue on with more of the fun biology. So if this is making sense to everybody, please just comment yes in the comment box if this is something that you're like, oh my God, I just had one of these like moments where I finally understand this connection between my gut, between what I eat, and how I feel. So amazing. I'm seeing some yeses. I want to see all of you guys on Facebook commenting away. Let's keep this interactive. I love it. So let's go one step deeper. Now let's talk about cravings. And this also has to do with gut health. So there is this thing called candida, and it is essentially yeast that can live within your body. So when I was talking about sugar and carbs and glucose before, what happens with candida is that it is actually fed by those exact things. It's fed by sugar. And the thing with candida is, once you get yeast overgrowth within your gut, you can start to experience really strong, really, really crazy cravings for sugar. So a lot of people have come to me before, especially as clients, and have said like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling down, I'm super moody, and I have these crazy strong cravings for sugar. Maybe it's because my body needs it. Maybe it's because, my body's telling me that I need it. Well, okay, yes, your body is telling you something, but it's telling you that you should not be eating sugar, because I'm super someone who really goes in for being intuitive and being reconnected with yourself, so you can know what your body needs. But at the same time, you need to also be able to understand that if your body is saying something, sometimes you need to go that one step deeper to have the understanding to know that it's actually telling you the exact opposite. So when it comes to candida, if you're experiencing some really strong sugar cravings, and if you have been eating a diet that's pretty high in carbs and in sugars and all of those things, and if you're also feeling kind of down and you're kind of moody and sometimes you feel sort of anxious, there's a lot of things that are showing there that mean that you might have a yeast overgrowth. Now, I'm not here to diagnose. I do not diagnose. I'm not a doctor. I am here to just give you the information to then seek out if you feel that you want to go do a test with a naturopath or someone to see if you have candida or yeast overgrowth. But the tips that I am going to give you when it comes to nutrition will not do you any harm, that's for sure, even if you don't have it. They will still help you. So when it comes to having candida, it's literally starving. So think of the yeast as literally just yelling at you, because it has been being fed by so much sugar that now it's starting to multiply and multiply and multiply. And now there's more and more of it. So it's starting to actually yell at you and yell at your body, saying that it wants more, to keep feeding it. It's like, feed me. Literally, it's what it's doing. So what you have to do at that point is you have to starve it. So this is where knowing and understanding nutrition is really important. So how do you starve candida to help you with your sugar cravings? Well, sorry to say, but you got to cut sugar. You have to cut it. So, and when I say cut sugar, this is where we go one level deeper. I'm not just talking about cutting candy, because a lot of the things that we eat when it comes to the processed foods, so things like flours, and I'm not only talking about wheat, I'm talking about any flour, like tapioca starch, whatever it might be. If it's processed and refined, don't eat it. Because what it's going to do is it's going to be transferred into glucose once you consume it, and into glycogen, obviously, if you're storing it into your muscles, but that is still going to be translated into glucose, which is pretty much sugar, and that is still going to feed that candida. So if you're experiencing those kinds of symptoms, you definitely want to be able to go into a state where you are eating lower carb and increasing your fats. So now that I've given you the kind of why behind it, it's really important to now give you exactly how you can fix it. So when it comes to being able to fix it, here are some of the things that I highly, highly suggest. So, and this is something that can help with your gut health as well. So if you're just in general feeling sluggish and feeling not so great, this is definitely a great way to be able to help you get to that next level of health, especially now since like gyms are closed, you're not able to work out super hard. So you don't necessarily need to keep your carbs as high as if you were training and really, going after it is in terms of in an athletic perspective. So if you're home and you're more sedentary, going for walks, this is actually a really, really good time to be able to address those kind of gut health issues. So what you do is you definitely want to decrease your carbohydrates. So you want to decrease things like any of the carbs that come from flours, breads, even things like white rice, and really try to even cut back on some of the grains that you're eating. Now, I'll give you 2 grains that I would still recommend keeping in your diet as your kind of source of more complex carbohydrates. So one of them is actually millet. So millet is a really, really cool grain because it actually has some antiseptic properties to it. So it can actually help in terms of decreasing some of that bad bacteria in your gut and helping you be able to combat any kind of gut health issues. And I can guarantee you that almost everybody on this call, just because of the fact that we live in North America, probably have some kind of imbalance in your gut. I'm just going to put it out there. Most of you probably do. Maybe I do right now too, who knows. But just because of the regular North American diet, you most likely have a little bit of an overgrowth of bad bacteria in your gut. So this is stuff that can help you. So in terms of being able to decrease, that bad bacteria, just starve it. So don't feed it sugar. So don't feed it things like, those carbs. Be able to decrease the amount of flours that you're eating. Try to cut out all like candy and sugar. And instead of just cutting things out, replace with things like avocado and things like coconut oil, and with things like nuts, and being able to get those healthy fats up so that then your body is now able to stay at a more sustained even blood sugar level, and also is starving that bad bacteria, so it gives your body the chance to repopulate your gut with good bacteria. Other foods that you can actually include too to help repopulate your gut is anything that's fermented. So anything that's fermented is actually going to have more, more amazing probiotic properties to it that can actually help repopulate the good bacteria in your gut. And the last thing is to go on a probiotic. So being able to go on a probiotic is something that's super helpful when you're in the process of decreasing that bad bacteria and increasing the good, because we're just trying to get to a good balance here. So going on a really good probiotic is super, super helpful. And if anybody needs help on here in terms of choosing what probiotic, just comment probiotic in the comments, and then I can help you out later, because I don't really want to dive into supplements and those kinds of things on these talks, because I like to just keep it about food and using food as the medicine to help you. So if anybody needs help, or if anybody wants help on probiotics, comment that in the comment section, and I can definitely help you out afterwards. Amazing. Got a couple comments on here. Anybody on Facebook, same thing. So when it comes to being able to now dive into more on the hormonal side, actually I see I have a couple questions. So I'm going to pause here for a second, because I have a question here What are your thoughts on alkaline water? Ooh, I like this. That's a great question. And also, recommendation foods alkaline the body. Amazing. So, I will definitely dive into that super quickly before I go into the hormones. In terms of alkaline water, super amazing. So when it comes to alkaline water, it really helps get your body back into a state of not being so acidic. So just everything that I actually talked about ties into this completely well, because the North American diet is extremely acidic. You know, any foods that cause inflammation are also causing acidity in your body, and you want to be able to get your body to a state where it's more alkaline so that it can then self-heal and fight off any of, you know, the bacteria and the viruses that are going around, right? So if you remember my talk from last.
All right, so we'll wait, see Stephanie comes back on. Looks like we have a little bit of some internet issues there on Stephanie's end, but as soon as she comes back up, we will get, oh, there she's back again. You were out for a bit, little internet calls there. You're back on.
Darn, what just happened? Okay, I don't know where I left off. Don't you just love the internet problems?
Yeah, so you left off on, if you saw my talk last week, and that's where we lost you.
Obam, give me a little help so that I know where I cut out.
Absolutely. So you left off on, if you saw my talk last week, and then we lost you there.
Okay, amazing. Thank you. All right, so definitely when it comes to my talk last week, I spoke about making sure that your body's in the right environment so that it can self-heal. So being able to self-heal is what your body is actually designed to do. So putting it in an alkaline state actually allows it to do that. Now, when it comes to hydrogen, because that's actually the compound within alkaline water that is allowing your body to become more alkaline, it's actually one of the most potent antioxidants known to man too. And it's actually a selective antioxidant. So what a selective antioxidant means is that it won't go after the good and the bad. It will only select the bad cells, and it's only going to destroy those bad cells. So that's why when it comes to even cancer prevention and disease prevention, why having alkaline water is so important, because it can selectively go in and act as an antioxidant to really help your body be in that right atmosphere to destroy any of those bad cells that might be creating into something worse. And it can also, like I said, just lower the acidity in your system, which then means lowering inflammation. And when you lower inflammation, that means you're lowering your ability to potentially end up with some kind of disease. Because as we spoke about last week, inflammation is one of the precursors to almost every disease in the body. And before inflammation usually comes stress. So if you're stressed out, just comment stress in the comment section and I will go back and I will tag you on that one, because I swear it is so, so important. It really gives you some awesome tools so that you can actually start to decrease that stress, put your body in a better place. So these are really two talks that are meant to be working synergistically together. So comment stress if you want access to my last talk if you didn't see it. So that was a great question. And I love that it was asked so that I could touch on the importance of keeping your body alkaline. And when Afia is also saying, yeah, making your body alkaline and you know, getting more foods that make it alkaline. So in terms of foods that make it alkaline, think of it this way. Everything I just talked about, gut health. See how everything is connected? All of the processed foods, all of the carbs, all of the things that really start to create inflammation in your body, all of the sugars, those are all things that cause inflammation. If you know that acidity and inflammation go hand in hand, that also means that if you are going to cut those foods out and add in foods like cruciferous vegetables and leafy greens and healthy fats, those are all alkaline foods. those are all foods that are going to help, because remember, you need to destroy or eliminate and then add. So when I say destroy or eliminate, I mean, destroy the bad bacteria, destroy, even this comes down to thoughts, destroying beliefs, destruction needs to happen before rebirth happens. And that happens within the body too. So destroy, eliminate bad bacteria, bad food, things that are going to get you into a level of inflammation. And then get into a space where you are adding in and crowding out those foods by adding, the cruciferous vegetables. Honestly, kale is the way to go. If I were to live on one food that I would say is like the most awesome superfood, it's kale. It is amazing because it's a leafy green and a cruciferous vegetable in one. So you're hitting two birds with one stone. And that's what I would definitely recommend. So those are amazing questions. So thank you guys for allowing me to be able to dive into those. I have another question coming in here when it comes to T3 receptor sensitivity with thyroid to increase sluggish metabolism. So that is a very in-depth question. So thank you, whoever asked that. So when it comes to T3, that just has to do, I'm not going to touch on it too much just because I don't want to get too technical here and I want to stay on the same path that we're on. But when it comes to T3, I mean, I'll say this. T3 is the usable form of thyroid hormones. So there's many of them. First you have T4, it then gets converted into T3. Thyroid hormones are kind of like a king of all hormones. If your thyroid is out of whack, a lot of your other hormones are going to be out of whack. And 20% of the conversion of T4 to T3, which is the usable form of it, that your body then uses for the rest of its processes and helping other hormones out. So think of T3 as kind of like the catalyst. So it's the thing your body actually uses. So 20% of that conversion happens in your gut. So another great question that points towards the exact thing I was talking about at the beginning. So thank you, whoever asked that. You're very intelligent. And thank you for allowing me to drive home another point to say that your gut health is extremely important because everything starts there. And whatever skin you have within your gut is also your skin on the outside too. So if you're experiencing eczema, psoriasis, any of those things, start by addressing your gut health because it really, really will help with everything else in your body. It's like the catalyst. It's like the king and the queen together. You literally, if you don't have gut health, you don't have health. So I am gonna leave it at that for gut health. I'm gonna touch on a couple when it comes to hormones, and because I know that, I think I'm just in whoever's head who's asking these questions because they're just flowing along with my talk, which is awesome. So now I'm just going to touch on a couple things when it comes to, because I talked about kale, right? And I talked about kale being an awesome superfood and cruciferous vegetables. Now I'm going to give you why. And I'm going to put my little nerd cap back on and I'm going to dive into some more biology. So when it comes to kale and cruciferous vegetables, they are something that are literally the best food you can add into your diet. Now, why is that? So kale and cruciferous vegetables have a compound within them that's called indole-3-carbinol. You don't even have to remember that. I'm just telling you. They have a compound inside them that helps you and helps your body be able to go around and gather up and metabolize and get rid of all of the bad estrogens that are in your system. Now, what are the bad estrogens? So, and where do they come from? When it comes to estrogens that are bad, AKA xenoestrogens is what they refer to them, but you can just say bad estrogen because you still need some. We still need some estrogen. But the bad estrogens, they come from things like plastic, like household cleaners, things like being exposed to pollution, things like bad food. And what happens is when you have an influx and an overload of bad estrogen, of the xenoestrogen, they're just the bad guy. Think of it as like, the burglar that you see on TV shows, that's like the bad guy that's coming in to steal everything and just destroy stuff. Well, think of that as the bad estrogen, is the xenoestrogen. And what happens is when there is too much in your system, you can actually be predisposed to a whole amount. Dr. Obam's eating his carrot salad. Hey, you're actually helping with your bad estrogen right now, which is awesome. So what happens is when you have that xenoestrogen that's in there, you can be predisposed to a lot of not so pleasant things. Yes, it does predispose women to breast cancer and men to prostate cancer. So when we're talking estrogen, we're not just talking women here. And this is something that, thank you, Omar. He actually was like helping me with some of the things this morning on what to talk about. And he actually made like the most amazing point on how so many men don't even think about estrogen as being something that's important to them. And they just think it's a woman's hormone. And he was like, guys have estrogen too. And it's like, it's true and it's awesome. And I just love the level of awakening, that everybody has on this call, and being able to like share this with other holistic geniuses like Omar and Pisana and just like all of you amazing people. So when it comes to estrogen, Obama's saying I'm all estrogen. That's just your feminine side, it's just, it comes out and we all love it. We love it when we see you dance and just having the best time. Again, we need to get a record label for you, Obama, because I mean, that voice, it's something. So we're going to do like a father-daughter record label together at some point. It's going to be a thing. Okay, so so going back to what I was saying with the bad estrogen predisposing you to breast cancer and prostate cancer. So yes, it does touch on both. Why does eating cruciferous vegetable help you decrease that in your body? Because again, I like to give you actual food that's going to help you with what I'm telling you about. So I would increase the amount of cruciferous vegetables that you eat by as much as, like, you can't eat too much. You can't eat too many pieces of broccoli or cauliflower or kale, but definitely try to have, 2 to 3 minimum of one of those things. Try to have 2 or 3 servings of them daily, because everybody could be experiencing really, everybody could be experiencing the fact that you guys are making me laugh at this chat. It's so funny. So everybody could be experiencing, to one degree or another, estrogen dominance. So when it comes to the foods that you're eating, they really help, like I said, that compound within it that then is going to go to that bad robber xenoestrogen. It's going to go to it. It's going to grab it, eat it, however you want to say, and help your body eliminate it. And that's what eating cruciferous vegetables will do for your estrogen levels. And it's also what eating the carrot salad that Obama was just eating helps too, because the carrots and the fiber within the carrots actually latch on to those bad estrogens and they help pull them out of your body. So the carrot salad is another amazing way and another amazing tool to be able to do that. So anybody who wants my carrot salad recipe who wasn't on the call last week, or who just didn't comment last week, because everybody that commented, I went back and I sent it to them. So I hope you guys are enjoying carrot salads just like Dr. Obam. But anybody who wants it, comment carrot salad below so that I can go back and send it to you, because this has honestly helped a lot of people. It's helped with weight loss, because estrogen dominance actually is something that really contributes to weight gain. Because when your estrogen is too high, and let me just explain it this way. Somebody could say, but my estrogen tested and it was actually low, but I have a lot of these symptoms of estrogen dominance. Now, again, I'm not a doctor. I'm sharing with you the knowledge that I've gained as a health coach and as someone who has physically lived these own experiences myself. So do with them as you wish. But what happens is you have estrogen and you have progesterone. So if your estrogen is higher than your progesterone, you are considered to have estrogen dominance. But let's say the middle of my screen, I like to use my hands because I'm French. So let's say the middle of the screen is where both should be at their ideal levels. Let's just say that. This is where your estrogen and your progesterone would ideally be. Let's say you had your estrogen tested and it came back as being low. So let's say your estrogen's here. But then you're still saying, but I'm experiencing weight gain and I'm moody and I have, anxiety that's just coming out of nowhere. And especially I'm gaining weight, on my lower body, because that's where people with estrogen dominance gain it the most, but my estrogen's low. How does that make any sense? Have you had your progesterone tested? Because remember, this is where on the screen both should be at, but your estrogen can be here and your progesterone can be way down here. You see what I'm saying? And you can also have estrogen dominance if both of them are way up here. All that matters, your level of progesterone, estrogen to progesterone. You want them to be here. So that's why eating foods like the carrot salad are super important, because they help get rid of that extra estrogen that's in your system without using any, of the harsh chemicals and different kinds of hormonal approaches that some medical systems use. Just a natural way that regardless of if you have estrogen dominance or not, it's not going to hurt you. And you can get yourself back to a place where you're feeling healthy. And if you start to realize those symptoms go away after eating the carrot salad and adding extra cruciferous vegetables into your daily routine, then you can maybe start to realize that that might have been a thing that you were experiencing. So these are all just tools that I love to be able to give you. And I could, just talk about this for a while, but I realized that we're already at 1:47 and I want to leave time for questions and more questions than we've already had, because these have been amazing ones. I see that there's one on here right now. What is the best source of collagen, plant or animal-based? Does exogenous collagen really help the skin for anti-aging? That's a good one. Another one that I could dive deep into. So anybody else wanting to ask questions as I dive into this, I'm just going to give a couple quick points. So anybody else that has questions, please just comment them. Ooh, okay, I like this one. Omar says, what are your thoughts on soy in relation to estrogen? Yes, thank you for asking that. That is a great question. And I'm gonna touch on the collagen one too super quickly. But anybody else who has questions, just type them in and I'll answer as many as I can before the clock hits 2:00. So, okay, I'm gonna touch on the soy one first because it goes in the flow of what I'm already talking about. So in terms of soy and estrogen, a lot of people are scared to eat soy because a lot of people think that there are estrogens in it. There are, but it's not xenoestrogens, it's actually phytoestrogens, which are not necessarily really bad for your body. Again, if you're already experiencing estrogen dominance symptoms, you might not want to add too much soy into your diet. But eating a little bit of the right forms of soy can be okay. So what happens is the biggest thing that can also create estrogen dominance is things like the herbicides and the pesticides that they use on the plants. So if you're eating, a lot of plants and foods that aren't organic, that's putting you at a higher risk for both gut health issues, because those pesticides are actually going to cause a bad balance of good and bad bacteria in your gut. And they are also going to put you at a higher risk for estrogen dominance. So getting into a place where you realize that soy can be okay as long as you are eating non-GMO and organic soy. So that means soy that hasn't been sprayed and that hasn't been genetically modified, because that's the biggest thing. Those are the two biggest things that are going to cause you health issues. And eating a tiny bit of it can be okay, because what happens is the phytoestrogens, when it comes to hormones, think of it as a lock and a key. Your body has the lock, the hormone is the key. So what happens is the phytoestrogen that you eat in the soy can actually fit into that lock in your body, so that then the xenoestrogens can't come in and get into it and cause even more damage. So eating a teeny bit of soy is not a bad thing. because as long as you're getting, you know, the healthy soy, the one that doesn't have any kind of pesticides on it, then you're good. So having it maybe like once or twice a week, you know, that kind of thing. I still eat it every single day if you're someone that's experiencing, you know, estrogen dominance, but it's definitely still a good thing. So that's an awesome question. Thank you, Omar. You and I just vibing. I love it. And now I'm just going to touch on, are there any other questions other than the one on collagen? I will just, okay, I'll touch on the collagen one, and then I think we'll be good. So in terms of collagen, this is another thing. So a lot of people are eating meat that doesn't have the bone and the skin on it. Where does collagen come from? It comes from skin and bone and cartilage and all of those things. So what happens is, if you are a meat eater and you're never eating anything that has the skin and the bone on it, which is pretty much what we eat, because we're not like barbarians and going out and hunting food and just like gnawing at a deer leg or something, even though I think my dog was the other day because he found a deer in the bag. But anyways, what we do is we actually end up being short on collagen. And that's why having to supplement with collagen nowadays is really important. So being able to get good sources of collagen, now there's plant-based and there's animal-based. I'm not going to dive into that aspect of it because there's so many different conflicting ideologies on if you should eat, you know, the bovine, you know, like coming from the cow, you know, kind of collagen, or if you should eat the more like plants coming from the sea sort of collagen. You know, there's so much. So I'm not going to dive into that, but I'll just say collagen as a whole is a really good thing to supplement with. If you're vegan, obviously you want to go with the plant-based one. If you know, don't care either way, you can go with the bovine one. Just make sure that it's coming from a company that isn't having antibiotics and hormones injected in the cows if you are consuming the bovine kind. So getting into a place where you are adding collagen daily is actually going to help balance out your amino acid ratio, so that you can definitely have that healthier skin and healthier nails and feel better and just have more energy, because you want to have a balanced rate and state of amino acids. I'm not going to dive into the amino acids thing, but yes, I'm just going to say yes to simplify that question. Collagen is good. Whatever dietary, you know, requirements you have, just add it into your daily diet. It's going to be great. It'll help you with your skin and nails and anti-aging. So are there any other questions? If not, I'm going to call back on the amazing Dr. Obam. I'm not sure if there's any other questions.
You just, you know, man, I just feel it's a kumbaya moment. We're just like, kumbaya. I get a chance to showcase all my super nerd kids. It's like, you're so good. Like all
you make me look good,
right? All these super complicated questions coming in and make my head hurt.
Wait,
my fingers were smiling typing them in because you were just like check, 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 right? Just like, man. And we're almost at the top of the hour already, and it makes me feel like I'm in a Boyz II Men song. It's so hard to say goodbye, right? Because my biology teacher is the bomb, bomb.com. So we're just gonna open up a little bit and ask some questions. We got one from Carolyn who had asked for, you know, version 1, who we know very well. She's been into health and nutrition for a while. And she's saying, were there other good grains besides millet?
Oh, other good grains besides millet? Oh, that's a good question. Yeah. So I would say quinoa would be my second option that I would keep. So quinoa is definitely good. It's fairly good in terms of gut. It doesn't like, I find that the way that quinoa works, it doesn't elevate your blood glucose levels, I find, as much as things like oats and other more processed ones. So yeah, quinoa and millet are the two that I would keep in for sure. Good question.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking at a lot of the questions there, but what I'm going to do is just honor some of the folks that are on here. I know some of you guys are probably like mind blown. It's okay. I would just call that moments of sexiness exploding. So definitely left the best for last because you know she's French. The French people are sexy. So you can give the answer in two ways. It's just like just so they can hear Stephanie La French. So share like what got you excited about nutrition. So the first like maybe sentence of that in French, and then you could finish in English, just so that you're talented, because your brain is in all different directions, and
I was about
nobody's
to say.
cool, right? Nobody's this cool in different languages, but except for Miss Stephanie Boland.
Bien, merci, Dr. Obam Bowen. C'est très gentil. Fait qu'est-ce qui m'a vraiment fait intéresser dans la nutrition, c'est, and I'm going to leave it at that so that other people can actually understand what I'm saying.
That's right.
What really got me into nutrition was honestly my own. If you guys watched again part 1 last week, I kind of touched a little bit on the fact that I ended up getting really over dieted by a coach at one point when I was into bodybuilding, because I feel like there's two aspects to nutrition. There was the one that was the athletic, I want to cut for my competition, I'm eating literally just to make my body be a machine. And then there's the other one that is the holistic, the healing with foods, and the yes, exactly, the kumbaya, as you like to say. So I was this one, like all the way. I was just like, literally just like, you know, I want my body to perform. It was all about performance. Clearly they both have to do with each other at some point, but that one went a little too far. And I ended up in a place where I was like 100 pounds. I'm 120 pounds right now. So 20 pounds lighter than what I am right now. And I literally looked like emaciated. People thought I had an eater, which technically I kind of did, because to get to that place, you can't be 100% completely, I'll just say sane. So I got myself into a place because I was listening to my coach, and it was literally just that focus of I have to do what's on the plan. You know, if I do anything outside of that, I failed. I don't want to get on stage. So it's literally just listen to him. And I got to a place where I was so over dieted that like my arms were like this big, and like I had lost muscle, and that is not how you approach a bodybuilding competition. So I'm not demonizing bodybuilding. It's just my experience at this competition wasn't right because of what my coach did. You can still compete and be healthy. So I got to a place where I was so skinny, I was emaciated. I started like, they told me, doctors thought that I had a non-cancerous brain tumor because of how messed up my hormones were, that it had the same profile as someone tumor, non-cancerous again. So I had to go through an MRI. I also had to go to an endocrinologist who told me that I'd probably not be able to have kids, and wanted to put me on medication, and wanted to literally just tell me I'd have to like take this blood pressure medication for the rest of my life and all this stuff. So anyways, that's where I just started to say, you know what, like you said the other day, like F it, you know, like screw it. I am done. I am done with this. I am not using food just as something that's going to allow me to perform. I'm literally just going to say, I don't care what my body looks like anymore. I just want to be healthy. And I ended up like gaining weight back, and I just dove into nutrition as an actual way of healing the body. And I dove into hormones, because I said like, screw it to the pills. I'm not staying on medication for the rest of my life. So I didn't take them. And I never went back to that doctor.
Awesome.
I
So
went to a few different naturopaths, and then I ended up starting to coach people. And that was my story, and getting to a place where I'm as passionate about it as I am now. So
awesome. So
in a nutshell,
Stephanie Boland, you're the best. And we're going to end abruptly today for everybody. Here's why. Because if you got to the 2 p.m. hour, you still feel like, OMG, I need some more. It's okay. I saved the best for last. Tomorrow, we're going to have Stephanie and Fasana, and we're going to give you nutrition holistically. And we're going to have probably about 15 minutes for question and answer, 30 minutes of them going, and 15 minutes of me like getting in there deep so we can go deep together. So tomorrow will be fun. We'll be back live, ladies and gentlemen, with Miss Stephanie Boland and Miss Prasanna Patel. Raise your hands, everybody. Raise them. Look at both of these young ladies over here will be on tomorrow, and they will crush it. So with that, thank you so much, Stephanie. We love you. Save your questions, write them down, ask them tomorrow. See you guys tomorrow on the Hour of Power. This is Dr. O and Nana saying bye for now.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.